On May 17, 2014, Laura Rumpf tweeted, "Phil Collins, here tonight is the man who inspired my next song. Fat shithead clogged my toilet. Spotlight tracks me as I head for exit." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. The likes and retweets on this tweet are not as high as some others from this era, but I can just tell you from being there, this was a really important tweet. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. In 2022, Paddle quote tweeted it and said, "I wanted to listen to In the Air tonight, and for the splittest of seconds, I was going to search for fat shithead who clogged my toilet." And I'll be honest, until doing research for this episode today, I thought that this was just a funny, silly tweet. I thought it was funny because it was silly. I thought Phil Collins was chosen randomly because Phil Collins would be a funny person to imagine saying this, but there's a reference here I didn't get, and I'm really glad I dug into it because I think it makes it funnier. And I apologize if there are people who knew this, who this is common knowledge for. Maybe I'm just dumb. 80s music is kind of a blind spot for me. So the thing this is referencing is an apocryphal tale that the song In the Air Tonight was written by Phil Collins about a man he saw refuse to save another man drowning. And part of the apocryphal legend, in some versions of it, is that at one concert Phil Collins was having, he knew that the guy he witnessed not save the other guy was going to be there, and so he called him out and put a spotlight on him. In fact, it's actually referenced in the lyrics of Eminem's song Stan. Of course, this is complete nonsense. Like almost every song, Phil Collins said that this song was actually about his relationship with his wife. And seriously, do you think that if a major music star were to shine a spotlight on someone during a concert and basically say, "Hey, I'm accusing you of involuntary manslaughter," that wouldn't be a story with a lot of record and a lot of proof to it? Anyway, Lil Harumph is referencing that, but in his version, he is not being accused of not saving someone from drowning. He is being accused of being a fat shithead who clogged Phil Collins' toilet. And I think that that is just the most hilarious version of this you could possibly come up with. One, and I'm just going to say it matter-of-factly, poop is funny. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If you were not raised in a household where poop was funny, I think that you had a bad childhood. And the idea of clogging a stranger's toilet is incredibly funny. It's why there's that whole sequence with Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber. And the idea of doing it to British music legend Phil Collins is even funnier. You can just imagine Phil Collins being in his gigantic Swiss castle he lives in, I think. And you go to visit, and after you leave, he goes into his bathroom, and it's like, oh my god, that fat had clogged my toilet. Okay, I just checked. He technically doesn't live in a castle in Switzerland, but he does have a big house in Switzerland, presumably with a lot of toilets to clog. And the visual that really gets me, and is I think what makes this tweet have staying power, is the idea of the spotlight not just shining on him, but following him as he scurries to the exit. You can just imagine a guy panicked trying to push people, being like, excuse me, sorry, realizing that the spotlight is following him the whole time. I've said it before, but what made this era of jokes on Twitter really funny is that a lot of the jokes were about painting a picture. They were not set up punchline. They were scenarios that were funny to imagine in your head, almost like mini scripts. And people have referenced this tweet multiple times in the past couple of years. Mike in 2023 said that this is what Taylor Swift will be singing about Travis Kelce on her 2026 tour, and I don't get this reference at all, but Duke says that this is like One Piece film Red 2022. And Lil Harumph himself actually turned this into one of those Anakin and Padme memes where it's, and then Phil Collins sang a song about the guy clogging his toilet. But there's no way the rest of the audience could tell it was about him, right? But there's no way they could tell, right? And the post that made me think about this tweet today, even though it's been on my list forever, is that on Blue Sky, Spencer Hall posted a screenshot of it with the caption, "The Pope to J.D. Vance," referencing the letter that the Pope just sent to American bishops, referencing J.D. Vance basically saying, hey, it's not that Catholic to deport immigrants. The comparison Spencer's making, I think, is that it is as unusual for the Pope to single out an American politician as it would be for Phil Collins to single out someone at his show. And in terms of Pope stuff, being mean to immigrants and the poor is as much of an insult as saying, hey, you're a fat shithead who clogged my toilet. I don't have a clever wrap-up for this one, but I was thinking about Phil Collins and scatological humor, so this is what I have. You'll be in my fart. You'll be in my fart. I do one of these a day. They can't all be winners. Follow me for a new tweet every day and consider subscribing at patreon.com/Museum of Twitter. We get the weekly Museum of Not Twitter, and also you can vote when I cover on Subscriber Sundays. And I'm doing a charity live stream on the 22nd to raise money for the Trevor Project. If you want to send in a donation now, please do so and send the receipt to museumoftwitter@gmail.com. If you donate before the stream, you can win some prizes, so do it now if you're thinking of doing it at all.